I'd like to talk about rhythm for a little while and see what your own ideas are on it. I've always loved a good galloping banjo rhythm, and in recent years I've sing more and more and start off a program with Henry was about 2 days old, sitting on his papa's knee. Well, he picks up a hammer and a little piece of steel. Cried, hammer's gonna be the death of me, Lord, Lord. Hammer's gonna be the death of me. Yeah, hammer's gonna be the death of me, Lord, Lord. Hammer's gonna be the death of me. Alan Lomax used to describe that kind of music as a person jumping on a horse that's already galloping. The horse is galloping along, and someone jumps on it and rides. And I think in the tradition in this country, at least, rhythm is tremendously important. There's a certain energy there, and maybe some people in some parts of the world could sing a whole program with no strict rhythm, because some traditions don't go in for a lot of rhythm such as we know. But with a particular combination of African traditions and certain different European traditions, we've got strong rhythms in a lot of our songs. And yet I find it good to vary these rhythms. So if I've got a rhythm like that, I like to follow it with what a beautiful city. Oh, what a beautiful city. Oh, what a beautiful city. 12 years to the city. And well, sometimes you may, here again, I'm talking about continuity and variety. Sometimes maybe you do want to stick with the same type of rhythm for a while. I've found it handy to change the rhythms. It's more important for me sometimes to get a certain amount of variety in rhythm than variety in key. Sometimes I'll do 3 or 4 or 5 songs all in the same key, but they will be in different rhythms perhaps. And sometimes it's the relaxation you can get with a slow rhythm, which is very important. Things can get too tense when you're with too crisp or too fast a rhythm. At the same time as that song Down the Down showed you, there's times you want what would be called by a musicologist an imperiodic rhythm. It's what an Irish friend of mine said, cadence. But I think it's a time value where there is no time value. Amazing Grace is one of these. Very slow. Amazing Grace. And the nearest thing you could think of to a rhythm would either be something very fast. Sometimes in church you'll see a person tapping their foot very fast during a slow song. But this very slow pulse, but it's not a strict rhythm. At any rate, the feeling for rhythm is, I think, just as important as anything else. And I like to fool around with counter rhythms when I can, but I'm not good enough to do it really well. Sometimes in that Spanish song, when we were singing in 3/4 time, I'll play a 6/8 time. But you can do this anytime with a 3-finger Scruggs pattern. You can almost, it's not a Scruggs pattern, but through 3 fingers, you can break up a simple 3/4 waltz. So you could play Irene Goodnight. Irene Goodnight. can do that if you want to. It's all right. Pa. Many a German band has done it. But you can also. And I rather suspect that as this country absorbs more and more traditions from different parts of the world, Latin America especially, we're going to experiment with more counter rhythms. It's a lot of fun. It can make the music really sparkle. I might mention too, my gosh, banjos and guitars are only two of the instruments we can use. Bernice Regan is a wonderful song leader, and she uses a rattle, an African gourd with beads all around it. Shh, 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 shh. Or no rattle at all. She doesn't play any instrument except that. Ella Jenkins will tap on a drum, and I've known other people who'd be great song leaders just tapping on a drum. Don't have to tap on it very fancy. What other instruments? What do you do with rhythm?
Well, what I do is I make instruments. Take a piece of wood and put a nail through bottle caps and make a tambourine, and put rice or beans inside Clorox bottles and beer cans, and doesn't cost anything.
But it put sandpaper on the block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of different things, and then hand them out and have one section be the tambourine section and one section be the maraca section. But I'm just handing out homemade instruments. Mm-hmm. And then do maybe Mama Don't Allow and have them do the instrument sections. I really like that in particular.
My mother was doing that with me and other young people 60 years ago, and I did it 30 years ago when my children were small. And just recently, my wife found to sell a whole box full of these homemade music instruments. We took it down to the Clearwater Club where we were having a monthly meeting on the waterfront of the Hudson, and we handed them around. Everybody had a fine time making rhythms. Hand clapping is good too, of course. It got overdone with, and so quite often I'll tell people, you know, you can clap if you want to, but don't think you can get away without singing. It's just too easy to sit back and
Are there sort of things you can do in terms of getting different rhythms going? Get people either making, clapping in different kind of polyrhythms, or making other hand sounds.
Kirkpatrick learned from Bessie Jones of the Sea Island Singers, you can't clap a low clap, you can't clap a high clap. She says, now everybody will hear his grandpa. Here, you clap with me like this. And everybody over here, the little granddaughter. These Georgia Sea Island Singers were so phenomenal. If you've ever heard them, now they're old John Davis died, and they'll never be quite the same. But there's a movie of them, and you can see how they bang their canes against the floor, and so it wasn't just their feet and their hand, the canes, and all different kinds of things.
The other thing, you can just clap the air and keep talking. You can. So I've done that a lot with kids. They love it. Whole different kind of thing. You can clap and talk all at the same time.
Rhythm, of course, is so important that European orchestras all have leaders, and for many years it was the standard thing. If you want to be a song leader, you must know how to beat 3/4 time and beat 4/4 time. But in Samoa once, I saw a song leader who, we saw the same song done twice. And it started off with the song leader going into crouch and going like this. And everybody did it. Do this. And then she went, and everybody started singing, and they sang in harmony. the missionaries came in and taught them European harmony, but they already had been singing in groups, and they loved harmony. And it was a 12-year-old girl in the school who was giving us this welcome song, and she did almost like a hula down the aisle, and she would reach up as though she was calling on inspiration from on high, and she would go like this, and everybody would clap one knee. She'd go like that, everybody clapped the other knee. It was a very rhythmic, exciting song. Then we heard the same song done that evening in a college with a young man, with a more masculine version of the dance. But again, he was reaching here, and the song was a combination of dancing and singing. And we made a movie of it, and the film didn't come out. I'm so sorry. It's worth going. If you ever get a chance to go to Samoa, this was Western Samoa, the New Zealand protectorate, supposedly an independent country, but it's really under New Zealand's wing. But ask to listen to that when will any of us get to Samoa, I don't know. This is just a job in Australia, and I was able to stop off.
I think maybe my question really was, how can you get participation from an audience other than clapping I mean, we used to sometimes pass out things, or say if it's in a restaurant, tap on your glass, and this kind of thing I'd heard of, and I was sort of thinking, I'm trying to get these kids. I said, I was doing a railroad song. I said, make whatever kind of railroad sounds you want, rhythmic, vocal, or whatever. And
there's some special songs, you can do it, like the camp song. Let everyone clap hands like me. Let everyone clap hands like me. Come on and join into the game. You'll find that it's always the same. Let everyone stamp their feet like me. Let everyone stamp their feet like me. Come on and join into the game. You'll find that it's always the same. You sneeze, let everyone sneeze like me. They all put your hand in front of your mouth, not polite otherwise. And cough and so on. These game songs are fun, and with, I don't know, do you ever do that with senior citizens, game songs? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've done them with little kids for years. Put your finger in the air, or this old man. Actually, San Francisco, I first heard this old man. He plays knick-knack on my thumb. And they had knick-knack, paddywhack. This was on the Presidio Hill School. Knick-knack, paddywhack all the way around. This old man sits on the ground. And they get all the kids to sit down this way. So they'd be milling around. They want all the kids to sit down.
What's the name of that movie about the Georgia Sea Islanders? Do you remember the name of it?
Step It Down.
Conrad.
Huh? No. It's called Step It Down, and it's a little half-hour movie made about 8 years ago in Los Angeles, and it's available through the 16mm place outfits. I don't know which one. Bess Hawes made it. Was one of the people who got the funding for it.
I do that dance game, Step It Down, for some reason. They like that a lot.
Lots of little game tricks with kids. One of the favorite ones, as you know, is she be coming around, she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. You know how it all ends up. She'll be wearing red pajamas, scratch, scratch, and then you go through all the motions. It's a cumulative thing, so it's very funny. The last time, scratch, scratch. Yum, yum, hack, hack, whoa, back. Hi, baby. I guess you can run this kind of thing in the ground, but it's good to have a certain number of these in the back of your mind in case you need them sometimes. And one of the funniest, I was singing at a camp for very young children, 4- and 5-year-olds, and their favorite song was I stuck my finger in the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole. I stuck my finger in the woodpecker's hole, and the woodpecker said, remove it. I removed my finger from the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole. I removed my finger from the woodpecker's hole, and the woodpecker said, replace it. I replaced my finger in the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole. I replaced my finger in the woodpecker's hole, and the woodpecker said, revolve it. I revolved my finger in the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole. I revolved my finger in the woodpecker's hole, and the woodpecker said, reverse it. I reversed my finger in the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole, the woodpecker's hole. I reversed my finger in the woodpecker's hole, and the woodpecker said, oh, ridiculous. I really can't remember.
Come on, you can.
Well, all these things are full of rhythm, which means you involve your body. I think this is one reason I like to stand up myself when I sing. I can't really move my body well when I'm sitting down. As I said, Leadbelly, they always sang sitting down. He could really do what he wanted to on the guitar. Tremendously muscular man. He sometimes stood up. He had a dance, and it was never recorded, never filmed, but someday somebody must do it. He went out duck hunting, and he tells a whole story about, he used a guitar, but and there comes a duck, and he'd do a little dance, and there comes a, and his body, he was a very rhythmic, muscular, graceful man, and he do some of these. There was one other thing he did standing up. He'd imitate about 5 different women of Shreveport, and he'd do a little buck and wing, double shuffle, and the old woman coming into town like this, and the little farm girl coming into town for the first time to see the sights with her eyes wide open, and the high society lady, the prostitute, all the different people, and each time he had a little buck and wing. But by and large, he sang sitting down, and he really would get a crowd singing because that big guitar had such tremendous power. And whether it was Bring Me a Little Water, Sylvie, or Jump Down, Turn Around, Pick a Bale of Cotton, he did most of his sitting there. But I find standing better for me. I can move my body and I can reach out and use my arms and everything else because sometimes it takes main force to keep everybody together. And one of the questions was, what do you do when you have such a huge crowd that won't stay together? There's not much you can do. I once tried to sing Senat Sena in Tel Aviv before about 20,000 people, and Senat Sena, the claps came back to the it was hopeless. And sometimes in a very echoey auditorium, a gymnasium or something, you just cannot, a fast song won't go, so try a slow song. That's where a slow song like We Shall Overcome is great. Now, get that slow rock. Yes.
So I was wondering if you have any recommendations. Rhythm is my very weak point, and I have a really hard time when I'm trying to get across a song to an audience, and I keep losing the rhythm. Do you have any recommendations how a person can get a better grasp on some of the more difficult rhythms?
Well, I'd say play with other musicians and practice. My rhythm is bad because anybody who plays by themselves can get away with murder. You can speed up, you can slow down. Earl Scruggs and his sister, when they were teenagers, used to play a game. They'd start playing the guitar and banjo together on the porch, and they'd walk around the house on the opposite side and meet each other, and then come around and sit down on the porch and see if they were still in rhythm where they were.
That's a great idea.
Take some training.
There are metronome books of exercises to do against a metronome.
Really?
With a metronome that can get you
Yeah.
tuned in. It's mechanical, but it's a way to get somebody to really make you both do it.
Yeah.
Another way is to sing with the gospel choir.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
You have a standard set of songs that you do, like last night at Stanford. And I was wondering, do some of the songs just get to where they really bore you, even though they...
This is a tendency, and if I don't watch out, I have to either stop singing them for a while, or I'll sing them better. And but if you're starting getting bored with it, other people can start getting bored with it. So it's better to stop it.
Faith mentioned that it was an important point to you and some other people to rotate your songs every 6 months or something.
Well, I find almost every year I'm doing a slightly different program. I learn a new song, and if it works, I try out new songs almost every month. I used to much more than I do now. I guess more like every 3 months now. And if it works, I'll sing it. Like that song I sung last night, Give Me That Old Time Religion. Somebody showed up to the Sloop Club and started singing it, and it was fun. You've heard it, haven't you? Mm-hmm. With all the new verses to it? No. Oh! Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. We will pray with Aphrodite. We'll pray with Aphrodite. She wears that see-through nightie, and it's good enough for me. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. We will pray with those Egyptians, build pyramids to put our crypts in, cover subways with inscriptions, and it's good enough for me. Oh, give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. We will pray with Zarathustra. We'll pray just like we used to. I'm a Zarathustra booster, and it's good enough for me. We will pray with those old druids. They drink fermented fluids, waltzing naked through the woods. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. And you can make up as many verses as you want. There's hundreds of them already. I made up one to end off. I'll arise at early morning when my Lord gives me the warning that the solar age is dawning, and that's good enough for me. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. It's good enough for me. Well, it's fun to sing some new songs regularly, and I figure if I don't enjoy it, nobody else is going to enjoy it. I suppose in the long run, this is getting down to what you're talking to, Joachim. I figure if I'm enjoying myself, and if I mean what I say, whether I'm serious or humorous, whatever it is, it will get across to people. But if I'm trying to fake it, it won't work. Sincerity is a much overused word. Sometimes an old faker is sincere in his fakery. This is the way it was with vaudeville, you know. They were out there giving out the hokum, but they really sincerely believed in it. It was sincere hokum. I don't know how much let me stick with rhythm for a moment. I think one of the most fun group songs I've done in recent years is the women's version of The Old Woman Who Swallowed a Fly. Meredith Tax wrote it in Boston way back 10 or 11 years ago, and it published in a little underground newspaper called The Old Mole, M-O-L-E. And she had a whole page where she'd written new words to well-known melodies. And I latched onto it. I think I shortened it very slightly. But it's still a lot of fun. It has all the Barbershop Harmony type. There was a young woman who swallowed a lie. I don't know why she swallowed a lie. She lied. Perhaps she lied. And by the time we get to the last verse, there was a young woman who swallowed a ring. Looked like a princess, but felt like a thing. She swallowed a ring to make up with a pill. She swallowed the pill to follow the line. Swallowed the line to follow the flow. Swallowed the flow to follow the rule. Lived to serve men, she learned it at school. She swallowed the rule to prop up the lie. I don't know why she swallowed a lie. Was a young woman, one day she woke up and said, I've swallowed so much, I wish I were dead. She ran to her sisters, it wasn't too late to liberate, regurgitate. She threw up the ring, she threw up the pill, she threw up the pill, she threw up the line, threw up the line, she threw up the fluff, threw up the fluff, she threw up the rule. Lived to serve men, she learned it at school, and last of all, she threw up the lie. Now she knows why she swallowed a lie, and she'll not die. Barbershop Harmony is a great thing. It sure is a result an awful lot of phoniness, but what we usually call barbershop was white people imitating the harmony that black people had in the barbershops way back in the 19th century. That's how James Weldon Johnson says the origin of the term. I sometimes sing an old barbershop song just to remind people of how stupid the words were. With someone like you, a pal so good and true, I'd like to leave it all behind and go and find some place that's known to God alone. Just a spot to call our own. Find perfectly where joys will never cease. Out there beneath the highway sky, we'll build a sleep little nest somewhere out in the west, and let the rest of the world go wild. Maybe the song to sing after that is What Have They Done to the Rain, while everybody was letting the rest of the world go by. Because it's very serious. This world is full of people who say, well, I can't do anything about the world, so I'm just going to get a little cozy corner for myself. You and me, baby. And
they call the social activists negative.
yeah.
The other thing that happens is, look what they've done to my song when they take the people out.
Yeah. I found myself making up a kind of barbershop harmony song, though, some years ago. And it's a fun song, if I say so myself. Just when I thought all was lost, You changed my mind. You gave me hope, not just the old soft soul. You showed that we could learn to share in time. You and me and Rockefeller, I keep plugging on. Your face will shine through all our tears. And when we sang another little victory song, precious friend, you will be there, singing in harmony. Precious friend, you will be there. Just when I thought, just when I thought all was lost, all was lost, you changed my mind. You changed my mind. You gave me hope, not just the old soft soul. You gave me hope, not just the old soft soul. You showed that we could learn to share in time. You and Rockefeller, you and me and Rockefeller, I'll keep plugging on. Your face will shine, your face will shine through all our tears, through all our tears. Let me sing, when we sing another little victory song. Precious friend, you will be there, singing in harmony, singing in harmony. Precious friend, you will be there. Oh man. Is there anything I haven't done about rhythm? Sometimes, as you can see, you want a very different rhythm from others, and it's kind of a shame not to bring out these different things. Sometimes you want a completely different type of harmony than the other. And we in this country are absorbing little bits of the traditions from all around the world. Not just North Europe and South Europe and the Middle East and Africa especially, because a tremendous amount of African music is in this country. We don't know it, but it's all around us. The way we play a guitar is an African way. They don't play it. The bass is doing just like the bass drum in a West African ensemble, and the top string is getting all the syncopated notes like the little drum. And while I'm about it, I might mention that probably, I would say, the great song leaders in this country are in the black churches. These are the great song leaders in America today. A man named Carlton Reese. He is now a school teacher, music teacher in an integrated school near Birmingham, Alabama. And he's got his whole crowd of white and black kids singing with that same wonderful rocking beat. He plays a piano. And he puts a microphone on the left, and the piano's here, and he gets that rhythm going. The kids are moving their bodies with it, and he beats them out just like I've been doing. Feeds them the words. Stops playing with one hand, reaches, play, hey! Before you know it, what was a group of ordinary citizens, all of a sudden is a great chorus. And it's because he's bringing African techniques in here. It's one of the great things is this repeat. You know, you don't just sing, "Oh, when the saints go marching in." You got, "Oh, when the saints go marching in." Antiphony is the fancy name for it, but continually reaching out for responses. And if you can go to some of the black churches where they're doing this, and you'll learn more about song leading than you can learn from me, really. I can show you a lot of different things, but I can't show you any better things than they can show you. I hope Carlton Reese one of these days will be better known. I'm writing a letter to him, actually. Have written a letter to him, I haven't mailed it yet, to see if maybe we could do some concerts together, because I'd like the audiences that hear me to see how he teaches. And he does it with that wonderful gospel piano. Gosh, how do you write it down? He's rolling all, he's just covering the keys. Big heavyset guy. About 30 years old. No, maybe not that old. But when he was a teenager, he was involved in the civil rights movement, and Reverend Shuttlesworth counted on him. He said, Carlton, get this crowd together. And Carlton would get them all together to hear Shuttlesworth give the speech.
Yeah.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Shuttlesworth was speaking. I heard him 2 months ago in Washington at it was called Voices of the Civil Rights Movement. It was kind of a reunion of people who knew each other in the 60s. Bernice Regan brought it together, and I hope you're going to see it because she took it all on videotape. And Shuttlesworth gives a wonderful talk for about half an hour, describing how Birmingham was organized, how he worked with King, and how he worked on his own sometimes, how he bombed, and he was frank about his own religious feeling. He says, I believe very much in a God that is with me all the time. And he tells how when they tried to bomb him, his bed was right near the corner of the house, and they put 12 sticks of dynamite right near the corner of the house. And splinters of wood went through the wall on the other side, and the bed went out from underneath him, and he was unharmed. He says, I was in the lap of God. And he's a vigorous man in his 40s, I'd say. He was a young man during the civil rights movement, but was brave enough to speak out when no one was else speaking. I mean, he took on Bull Connor, and he fought him up down the line on legal grounds, on moral grounds, on religious grounds, and musical grounds, with Carlton there to help him. Carlton says after he finished, Reverend Shuttlesworth, you have to sing such, I can't remember what song. And Shuttlesworth said, my voice is kind of hoarse today. Oh, you have to sing it. Shuttlesworth sang beautifully. What a beautiful voice. But not only that, Carlton reaches out and he gets the whole crowd singing along with Shuttlesworth. So Shuttlesworth is just giving the lines, and they're coming in with the responses. And just like the ocean supporting a boat, they were supporting him. And he was singing better and better as it went on. And I hope to live to see the day when in Congress, the congressman or congresswoman from Alabama or Georgia will stand up and give all the legal reasons why they're in favor of a certain bill, and all the moral and sentimental reasons why they're in favor of a bill, and then they're going to break into song, and all the other southern congressmen are going to suddenly join in, and the person taking notes is going to say, how do I write this down? Because music and prose just blended so beautifully. I mean, the prose becomes more and more rhythmic and more poetic, and the repetition comes in. The repetition is tremendously important. It gets to where a song has meaning that you can't put in words. I know in some traditions they say in the beginning was the word, but in other traditions in the beginning was the beat. And maybe that's where I should end this little chapter. We'll take another 5-minute break and we have one more session. Okay? We have enough for one more session?
Sure.